Thank you. I'm the last one here. But I wanted to stay because I want to go over some really important points that you and I had conversations about in our meeting. So I want to go over again the importance of logistics infrastructure. As we're focused on great power competition as outlined in the NDS, as we talked about this, our logistical tail needs to be robust enough to address our shifting priorities. Would you commit to me that if you're confirmed, you will pay closer attention to our logistical needs to include funding for sea lift, airlift, and other aspects of our logistics infrastructure? It was also include here amphibious shipping for the Marine Corps.
Absolutely, Senator, and just to share with you for the broader audience, look, the Army gets to the fight through sea lift. 90% of its equipment goes by sea, and if it can't get there, it won't be in the fight, it won't be relevant. And I've had this conversation as Secretary of the Army with Secretary of the Navy, Spencer, and he agrees we need to modernize and build capacity into our sea lift. And then second, with regard to the Marines, absolutely, they need to have the requisite number of amphibs to do their missions. They're short now, and that's something that I'm committed to seeing through.
Thank you. I want to address the night courts that you conducted. We've discussed this a little bit. The savings and recapitalization enabled reprogramming to unify the Army's efforts behind these priorities, and I congratulate you for that. If confirmed, will you carry out a similar rigorous defense-wide review or multiple service-specific reviews to focus on future game changers, which might include things like AI, hypersonics, or nuclear command and control? You've touched on this a little bit. But
absolutely. I mean, the Congress and the American people were very generous with what they give us for defense, and I think we can make better use of every single dollar, certainly before we come back asking for more.
Thank you. Again, I want to address, since I get the last word here, I guess, about the ongoing use of the 2001 and 2002 AUMFs. Right. The U.S. Constitution vests with Congress the sole and solemn responsibility to declare war. However, over the past several years, administrations from both parties have used the existing AUMF in a way that outstrips the intent of Congress and has, at best, dubious legal justifications. In a real-world example of current concern, do you believe that the 2001 AUMF or the 2002 AUMF provides the necessary legal authorization for us to use military force against Iran?
Not to conduct a war, Senator, as you and I discussed, but obviously the President has under Article 2 the right to respond if attacked. But no, not in terms of how you described it as we discussed, to conduct a war.
Right, but Article 2 is aside from the AUMF.
Right. As I said, if Iran were to attack us, our soldiers, we always have the right of self-defense and to execute those types of things.
But that's under Article 2.
That's right.
I'm speaking specifically of the 2001 and 2002 AUMF.
Right.
Will either one of those authorize you to
No, because Article 2001 applies to terrorist groups and organizations, and that would not be the case here with regard to the country of Iran.
Thank you. Again, I want to touch a little bit on the issue of sexual assault and harassment. We've had civilian and military representatives from DOD come in for years swearing to take the problem seriously and affect real change. Disappointingly, estimated prevalence rates are rebounding. Will you commit to working on a major effort to reform our prevention efforts, not through changes regulation, but an actual cultural change that needs to happen?
Absolutely, Senator. This is absolutely intolerable that what we see is happening out there. It is, the goal should be zero, and we need to continue to jump on this problem, take care of the survivors, the victims, and then also hold the perpetrators accountable. One of the things that I found coming into the job as Secretary of the Army that we weren't leveraging, which I think gets to what you were saying, is I don't think we've leveraged well enough in the past the culture of the Army and the chain of command that says leaders at every level, down to the squad leader level, get involved and take this task on and make sure they know their soldiers well enough and they prevent sexual assault and harassment before it begins, not deal with it after the fact.
Well, there's about a minute left. I want to give you an opportunity to address the issues and to, I would think, reaffirm your willingness to stand by the recommendations of your ethics committee and your ethics officers in how you would conduct yourself in terms of Raytheon.
Absolutely, Senator. Look, it's beyond just the laws and regulations and policies. I will always follow those, but it's the spirit of ethics. It's what you grew up with in the Army, what I grew up with in the Army, what Senator Ernst grew up in the Army, is the commitment to the nation, living an honorable life, and living ethically. That's what drives me. That's what drives me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your many, many years of service, and I look forward to your confirmation.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. I yield back.